You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep. Did we just become best friends?
Welcome to the Did We Just Become Best Friends podcast. And I'm your host this week. My name is Anthony. I am accompanied with Alfredo at the end. And this is Armando.
Hey.
So this is Armando's first podcast with us.
Yep.
And we're just going to talk about some video game stuff. I think mainly about this episode. And so we talked about you last week, Wanda. About Minecraft and Warcraft and all the good stuff. So people should remember you. Now they have a face. But how's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Today? Yeah.
We need a bigger bricks.
Yeah. Armando's saying with a green screen, but the only thing I'm afraid with green screen, somebody can alter it.
Put penises everywhere.
Mainly Armando. You
I'll probably do that. I can do that.
I got a green Lannister, so I'm sure you can like green screen something on there.
I got a bazinga.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
You got nothing.
But
so basically, this is 3 out of the 4 guys that we started playing World of Warcraft a long time ago.
Everything.
And,
we were playing everything together.
We were actually
back in 2003, I think. No, 4 or 5,
I think. Somewhere around there.
A long time ago. So hopefully we get Maximuso, Omar, to come out.
Yeah, ask him how he came up with that name.
I don't know. I'm afraid to ask.
Isn't
maybe
it
because
part
it
of
was
his
Maximum.
car?
Yeah,
Maximum.
That was my guess.
Probably.
Because he had a Maximum. Man, come on out and join us. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I want to know how he came up with the name Big Ray.
Big Ray.
Saw porn.
Probably. But yeah, so we've been playing video games
for a long time.
Together for a long time. Separately, I mean, as early as I can remember. I mean, my grandfather would play. I remember he would, PlayStation 2, I think when he passed away and the PlayStation 2 was still like a big thing. So I've been playing video games for a long time. Now, all kinds of video games too. I don't know what kind of video games, or when did you guys start playing video games?
I think 7, 8 years old. My grandmother bought me the NES.
Okay.
She bought that. My dad brought it home and just to keep me indoors from keep away from the riffraff, and it worked. And ever since then, at that time I couldn't beat Mario. And Dog Hunt was the second game that came with it. No matter how many times you try to shoot the dog, it doesn't work.
He still laughs at you.
He still laughs.
Yeah, and then it wasn't recently until like 10 years later you find out, oh wait, if you use the second controller, the second player can control the ducks.
I did not know that.
No.
Uh-oh.
I did not know that.
Yeah, if you have 2 controllers, you got the shooter, and then you got the second person is able to control the ducks wherever location to go.
Years later, we just learned this. What about you, Mondo? When did you start playing video games?
I probably started playing when I was 5 or 6. I think I started playing also Duck Hunt and Mario. I always liked Luigi. I could never get past like that blue stage. I think it's the second stage.
Which one?
Okay, the second one when I was little, of course.
The second Super Mario Brothers?
No, the second stage in Super Mario.
When you go into the sewer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the first most popular game that I really liked when I was little was Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo. That was the first one I got really excited about.
Yeah.
And actually, the name Kekken, I spell it K-E-K-E-N, came from the character Ken, because it sounded like, how do I say it? It sounded like my name that my family gave me in the beginning, because if you remove the N, it sounds like Ke, and then if you add the N, it's like Ken, so it's Kekken, kind of.
There you go. A little backstory about his gamer tag.
There you go.
Yeah.
So why I bring up how long you guys been playing video games is because all 3 of us are not violent, murderous people. Despite what the government says about video games.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, I think, our main topic for the week is do video games cause people to go violent or cause violence in our society? Just right off the bat, my biased opinion, personal opinion is it does not. But there are people that it has. So just a few things before we get into it. This is not the first time that the government has been blaming video games for violence. It happened. It happened. I believe in the 80s or something like that.
Hillary Clinton, I think.
When Nintendo, when probably Duck Hunt, like, oh, here's a gun and you're shooting things. There was lethal enforcer that had a couple guns.
Right.
So that was a big thing then, and then back in the Clinton days, I believe, early '90s.
Hillary Clinton ended up coming out and putting the tags on
the ESBR.
Yeah, the ESBR,
the ratings.
which I don't have a problem with that.
No,
I don't think that's a problem.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. But then it allows the game makers to do that for themselves. It's not the government doing it. So the game maker says, "Hey, this is M for mature," or this is I forgot what it even is because I can buy whatever. But as a parent, I would see that that is kind of come in handy. And then Columbine, when Columbine happened, video games were up there with music and all that satanic stuff, or whatnot, what they were listening to. But and then so now video games are back in it again, and I think now, especially with VR being so big or starting to become big, the graphics becoming so realistic, everything becoming more realistic, like I guess it's becoming an issue again. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it? What do you guys think? Do you feel like video games made anybody violent?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I don't think they do. I mean, I can see kids mimicking things, but like, how do I say, like play fighting or something. But you know what? Movies do the same thing. Like, I remember when I watched Bruce Lee the first time, I started mimicking all those moves. And who was there, like, to tell me stop that? My parents,
Right.
Yeah.
So I really don't think it's a major deal. But maybe with some kids, I don't know. I think the parents play a major role in what games the kids play. I don't know. How about you?
I think every child needs a foundation. That foundation is the parents. So if the parents is the foundation, the parents needs to let them know, hey, that's good, hey, that's bad, but along with, hey, that's real, hey, this is not real. Just like in cartoons, or in cartoons you hit somebody in the head and their eyeballs pop out. So a kid's gonna go out there and smack their best friend in the head and nothing happens, but there's pain and there might be even a fight. So the foundation is very, very important. If the child doesn't have a strong foundation, anything can happen. It could. The kid's mind might go wild. The child might think it's a good idea. Hey, let's go outside and throw ninja stars because a Ninja Gaiden did it. Or let's go outside and play some sword fighting because Leonardo does it. GTA is one of the most popular games. I know this. I worked in retail for a while, and I've seen people purchase Grand Theft Auto 5. It clearly says mature, 17 or older. However, these parents are buying it for the 8-year-olds. It's my job to say, hey, are you aware? This is for mature, for 17 and older, because there's violence, there's sex, there's swearing, there's everything. Oh yeah, that's fine, it's okay. Okay, I cannot stop him. The parents there, they're aware of it. I'm assuming, I hope, and I pray there's a strong foundation. The child's good. He knows the difference of right and wrong. Keep the gameplay of games. Real life is real. People do get hurt if you do some mimicking from the game to real life. And there's also consequences to be paid for if they do it. So it's really based on the foundation. To answer your question, no, it does not. But once again, that's every household is different.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And one thing is, is kids trying to trick parents. Because there was a story I heard, because I know a bunch of people that worked at GameStop, still do work at GameStop, or EB Games or whatever it was back in the day, or Funko Land. Was it Funko Land?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cow.
As old
How
as
the hell do you remember that?
That's old school,
Babbage's
man.
before, I think.
Babbage, yeah. Yeah, Funko Land. I remember it was me and my grandfather and my uncle would always go there and see what's going on. But that was before the ESRB rating system. Now I would see like there's this BMX game. So like, oh, here, you know, this kid is telling their parents like, oh, I want this BMX game. It was, you know, it's a bicycle game, you know, do tricks and stuff like that, kind of like Tony Hawk but with bicycles. But there's also BMXXX. Right?
Oh, I played that one actually.
And that one.
It was on Xbox, regular Xbox.
I believe so. But the only difference is boobies.
Oh,
Big old jiggly boobies.
there's more than just boobies.
Yeah.
There's hidden.
Yeah, very very sexual, very
Yes.
sexual. And you know, I heard of people saying, "Hey, your kids should not be playing this. You know, here's the age appropriate
Right.
game." And you know, the kid would get upset because he's trying to pull a fast one over the parent,
Right.
stuff like that. You know, and I do feel like you do need to monitor a little bit, especially now. You know, granted, I don't have kids. My mom doesn't have kids. Fredo's the only one with a daughter, but I think she's starting to get to that age where she's getting into media. Maybe not social media. Obviously, she's too little
no,
for that.
she's only
you know,
two.
but I mean, she's on the on the iPad or on
Yeah,
the phone doing all that high tech stuff.
Yeah, she is. She likes she likes movies. Too.
Yeah.
So she's in movies too.
Also, I know there is a difference between boys and girls. Boys are going to play video games a lot more than I say a girl would. I mean, not saying that they wouldn't, but I'm sure, you know, they would see their cousins and stuff like that. You know, but I do know, you know, women who do play video games who are really good at video games too. That would whip me in a bunch of shooters.
Do you guys know if, like, what kind of violence has there been? Like, they say it has caused that kind of violence. Like, was it mostly adults that did the violence? You know what I mean?
Well, the newest one was the I believe it's Garland, the shooting in Florida.
Oh.
That's what brought everything up.
Okay.
Which I find kind of like you're looking for a scapegoat first of
Yeah.
all, and you know, and then one's like, oh, these kids are playing these violent games. Well, what about, you know, that 50-year-old man in Vegas? You know,
Yeah.
It's like what was his excuse? You know, was he playing Call of Duty and couldn't figure out, you know, this was fake? You know, I mean, so that's where, like, for me, it comes in. It's like, oh, it only applies to little kids. You know, it doesn't apply to adults. And you know, my dad, he loves those World War II kind of games, and he plays them. You know, I don't know if he played them too much now, but yeah, he would always, you know, play them, and you know, yeah, it's just you know, stuff that you enjoy. You know, but yeah, but like going back to what Fredo said. I grew up and there was usually a gun in the house, legally and all that good stuff. But my father always taught me how to respect, you know, the gun. You know, it's not a toy. It, you know, it could cause a lot of damage, and I feel like that's maybe part of it. Like here is this thing that could kill somebody, you know, but we use it to protect ourselves, you know. And he would show me and, you know, have me, you know, touch it, and I feel like that kind of got rid of the curiosity for me.
Exactly.
You know, I'm like, oh, look at that thing I never seen before. I seen it in video games. I'm like, no, I know what it does because I seen him clean it. I seen him use it.
Right.
You know, he you know, obviously would give it to me unloaded. You know, and it's like, here, this, you know, this is a gun and don't ever mess with it. You know,
Right.
But he would let me like touch it. You know, and like look at it and stuff like that. And I feel like that definitely was a big thing where I'm like, oh, okay, I know what this is. You know, and I'm like, I know it's not meant for games. You know, and one, like a real gun looks different than like the duck hunt gun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
what was it first?
I think it was orange.
No.
Oh, it was gray.
that
Oh,
was
yeah,
the second
it was
one.
gray.
With dark gray.
Yeah.
And they even had
That might a little bit, but
Super Scope 6. That's
like the sniper one, right?
Oh.
No, it was the
Was
bazooka.
The bazooka. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
was-
remember.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so that was always like one thing for me was something like that. I don't know. how were you guys ever curious about that growing up? Yeah, especially like when I think Lethal Enforcer, kind of those games we grew up on, rather than now like you get all the Call of Duties. For us, that's fairly new. Like to me in my video game life. I don't know. Were you always like curious, like, oh, what are the cops doing? What are these soldiers doing?
Not like for me, not really. I mean, I was always looking at those kind of things as like that's like way beyond. I mean, as a little kid, it's like I realized some of those violent games were like way beyond something I could ever imagine in a way. How do you say it? Like getting a gun and bringing it to school kind of thing. That's not something I would ever dream of as a little kid. I would always probably maybe talk about those things, like what kind of games you guys play, like to my other friends in school, but never really, hey, you guys want to bring something that I saw in this game, like to school kind of thing.
Yeah. Right. And then me and Armando, we've been in school together, third grade?
Yeah.
Fourth grade?
Yeah.
Something like that. Or a long time. And I feel like our group, we never really had like a bully. Like there was one or two I can think of, but he never messed with us because usually we were all kind of together, and we would crack jokes at each other and stuff like that. But I think that's just like what friends do, and I feel like maybe that might be part of the problem too. I don't know because Fredo, you didn't go to school with us,
no,
so like we had our clique that we knew for years, and even in going to high school. They're all people that we knew, so we all knew each other from the neighborhood, from elementary school. Right. So there was no one ever like picking on somebody or making somebody feel like an outcast.
Right.
To the point where it would be like something like that, where somebody would do violent acts on anybody. Well, there was always the hazing for football and everything was really fun, but it never got carried away. I knew that for sure.
No.
But I don't know about you in your school.
When I was a kid, I mean, bringing a gun was never ever thought. I mean, in grammar school, believe it or not, I was the one getting picked on, and I got bullied. And at that time, I was a husky little kid. I don't know how much I weighed or whatever, but I was a little bit bigger than everybody else. And I guess they saw, an easy kid, an easy target for some reason. But I was picked on, I was pushed, all that terrible stuff. But not once I ever thought to myself, I'm going to bring a gun, or I'm going to do this to them, or do that. No, I just, ignored it, kept to myself. Thankfully, there were people around me that they saw me getting picked on, and they intervened, and they picked on him. And they're like, hey, leave him alone. He's doing nothing. And, next thing you know, the guy's like, I got you. I'll be your bodyguard. And I never really liked that, but I'm like, whatever, Yeah, not once ever thought of bringing a gun. Through high school, we were scared to bring in a Walkman because if we got caught with the Walkman, we get suspended, we get in trouble, we get parent conference. We didn't want that. So, yeah, not once in my life I ever thought of bringing a gun, bringing a knife. I've seen knives in high school, and these are from the bad riff-raff kids there. And, of course, they're in gangs, they're in cliques, and they're all doing their thing.
Yeah.
And same thing in high school. I just kept to myself, I had my own group of friends, and we just basically talked about sports, games, and we ate a lot. And that's about it. Or sometimes we skip lunch to go to gym to work out.
Yeah. So it was like basically you had a vent. You had your friends to talk to and decompress and stuff like that.
Right. And like I said, it all revolves with foundation, because if you could go to your parents, which I think to this day, and my grandmother, for doing what she did, involved me the person I am today, But either way, it all revolves around foundation. Mm-hmm. Because if the child has someone to talk to, the child has someone to vent to, the last thing you want to do is go to your mom and dad, and next thing your mom and dad goes to the school and says, hey, this kid, of course, then you're going to be the laughingstock. Poor child. However, now as a parent, anybody's going to do that.
Yeah. So one thing I want to go on was like back to the gun violence, and I don't know if you've seen on Facebook and stuff like that, where there's like, oh, there's this study that says GTA directly affected this kid and stuff like that. What I found out recently was that's technically illegal. That you cannot, or a group cannot, do gun violent research. So let me give you some. This is the Washington Post. So it's called the Dickey Amendment, and this was passed in '96 with the Bill Clinton era. So it doesn't. So here's this is what it quote. It says, although it did not explicitly forbid research on gun violence, CDC has not authorized any significant study on the subject since the firearm research program was shut down and raised the Russia job. So basically, you can't do any research on gun violence. So you can't do like, hey, does this video game cause people to go shoot schools? Because you can't do it. Because it's the NRA with their point man, Mr. Dickey, which was a congressman in the mid-'90s, helped pass this law and made it so a company or a group or CDC, which is the Center of Disease Control, because they do a lot of stuff like that. What that also does, like health,
right?
Stuff. So they want to see if there's any like mental health issues with it. So you cannot do any research on gun violence. That is a law passed in 1996. I don't know the fine details for it, but that's basically in a nutshell. So it puts an end to federal research on gun violence. That's what it does, and I feel like that's kind of like an issue. So you can't have a politician say like, oh well, there's proof that guns are a direct involvement in all these school shootings. Well, where's the research? Oh well, no, because you and your buddies in 1996 passed a law saying you can't do any research.
So did they break the law, or there's something?
They kind of get around it. A lot of the ones I read were about video games and aggressive behavior. Mm-hmm. So does it make you aggressive? But it's still aggressive and gun violent. There's two different things. Because you could be aggressive and go, shoot people, or not shoot people, stab people, or fight, punch people. In Austin, I don't know if you guys know, there's the whole bombing thing going on right now. There's a serial bomber in Austin, Texas. Aggressive is kind of just like really bad behavior, where gun violence is very specific.
Well, so, I remember there was a time rap music was bad. Rap was causing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean,
it still is.
Right.
They still said the music.
When the Rodney King beating happened, and then all the violence came out, he immediately came after Ice-T because he made that one song, "Cop Killer."
Oh yeah.
But little they know, that song actually came out before the Rodney King beating, before all the riots. Mm-hmm. But they just pinpointed to him. Yeah. And it's, I believe they actually targeted Eminem also at one point. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. So
apologize. There's I believe it's a 30-year anniversary. I think I just saw it the other day of Dee Snider from Twisted Sister going in front of Congress, and he was on the list of all these music artists and songs that are explicit. This is before the parental advisory on CDs. Yeah. And he and him. It was Madonna and NWA. It was literally like everyone from pop, rock, and rap were kind of in there. Anybody who had a voice, and politicians didn't like it were on there. Like Madonna. Like, you think Madonna now, you're like, okay, whatever, But she was on that list like, oh, no, this is bad influence on kids. And if you've never seen that interview of him in front of Congress, YouTube it. That is amazing.
It is.
It is amazing.
He put them in their place, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if you know who Twisted Sister is. You guys? Twisted Sister.
No.
Big hair metal band. Dee Snider had his big blonde hair, makeup all the time. Real skinny, lanky looking guy. he walks into Congress. Like, he just finished the show or something. I mean, he's still pretty, like, dingy looking. He's not in a suit. He's just in jeans. I think he was in, like, a cutoff T-shirt or something like that. He did not go in there looking, like, professional.
Right.
So, you know, all the politicians already know that, you know, this is going to be a win for them.
Right.
He sits down. He has this piece of paper that's, like, folded, like, 30 times, open it, spreads it on there. And then the words out of his mouth is so brilliant. It's like he is a very well-educated man, well-spoken man, and he just nailed it home that
He did.
it's not the music, it's the people who interpret the music, you know? And which is true, you know? It's the same thing with the video games. It's like, I play GTA. I'm not going to go and mow down people in the street. You know, I also played Diddy Kong with Armando. Am I going to go throw a monkey out of a barrel? You know?
Never know.
You never know.
It's possible.
You're one hell of a guy to put the monkey and a barrel.
Yeah. You know, I mean, and I feel like if games influence bad behavior, does it influence other behaviors, good, weird, stuff like that? You know?
I mean,
Good point.
Yeah.
it's a great point. I mean, I think it just boils down, besides foundations, also with social media.
Yeah.
People want to be the it thing. They want to be the, you know, the hits, the likes, the selfies, and all that stuff. They did, what was it, Ice Bucket Challenge?
Yeah.
Now they have the Tide Challenge,
Tide
which
Pod.
is so idiotic. How about let's do a better challenge? How about help your neighbor challenge?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the ice bucket was for ACLS.
But then
Or was
the
it ACLS,
popularity
ALS,
just
ALS?
kicked in.
ACLS.
You know,
yeah.
they just did it because,
But
I'm
it
on
stopped-
YouTube.
yeah.
See how many
It
hits
stopped
I
being
got.
for the cause, and it started being like a viral thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is.
People
Yeah.
started doing it for the wrong reasons, I guess.
Yeah. Like right now, what's big is the lemon challenge. And for anybody who doesn't know, go check out, what was it? One Life, One. They're gonna kill me. One Life, One. I'll get back to it. But it's basically a guy who has cancer, and he needs a bone marrow transplant.
Right.
And he came up with this the lemon challenge because he was like, when life gives you lemons, you just kind of
Make
take
lemonade.
it, make
Yeah.
lemonade, you know, all that saying. So he has, you just like squeeze it, and and this guy's been on all the big, Rooster Teeth, H3 podcast. He Danny DeVito. He has Danny DeVito in his speed dial.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
like
the red M&M, isn't
he's man. Well, he's just been on this tour promoting that, and I'm like, that's what I feel is good about social media and about these the stupid challenges. You could cause awareness,
right?
But then it evolves into something that is more superficial than has a deeper meaning.
Well, yeah, it is. But 1 out of 10 challenges also becomes that. And nothing against all the challenges except for the Tide one. And I think
And
at
the
one
cinnamon
point,
one.
people,
The cinnamon one, yeah.
the cinnamon challenge. People actually died from that. But I don't want to take nothing about anything away from them. I'm just saying, if it's a good cause, great, do it, donate, do a great deed for a day. You do one great deed a day, you're going to become a better person than you woke up in the morning after, the morning before. So always do something like that. Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from that at all. I forgot I had my point. I lost my track.
Yeah, sorry. I might screw you up.
Try to cut it out.
But yeah, I mean, would you feel like doing something good, doing something productive would kind of, I don't want to say clear your conscience, because if you're being bullied, then you really don't have anything to be clear. But would it distract you from the negative stuff? Because like when we were younger, remember we built started to build a tree house?
Yeah.
And it kept 5 kids, 6 kids busy for almost a summer.
Yep. Even people like across the neighborhood or like a block away wanted to come and just check it out.
Yeah, I mean, and this thing was built. His father is a carpenter, right? Carpenter,
Painter.
painter. Well, he knew his way
Anyway,
around.
yeah.
He knew his way around power tools.
Yeah.
You know, and he's sitting there helping us. I mean, we built this thing, and it was legit. It was a floor. It wasn't just a couple pieces of plywood and a 2x4. It was legit. This thing was on there. But yeah, you know, it kept like, but I want to say 5 or 6 of us busy for weeks. You know, and you know, we learned power tools, measuring, you know, how to use a hammer, you know, different, you know, skills, you know, nothing crazy. I mean, we're not going to go build, you know, the 16th chapel or anything, but, you know, for a bunch of kids in elementary school, I think it was elementary school, right? Or maybe high school, maybe freshman year, something like that. Yeah, you know, so I felt like that was a good distractor.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
it also taught us to be safe around those things, you know?
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, it just carries on from there to all the way to adulthood. Make sure you know what you're doing. Test it out.
Yeah, but it kind of goes back to what my dad told me, you know? It's like, if you get to use it, the curiosity goes away, you know? And we got to use a miter saw, I think, hammer, nails, the drill, and stuff like that, you know? And, you know, and you think like, oh, that's no big deal. But in the city, you don't get that too much, you know? Was the home wood class, what was it called?
Wood shop?
Wood shop? Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing, especially in like Chicago. Everything is a college prep. And then in college prep, there's no space for blue collar work, you know, learning, you know. So automotive class, wood shop class, that's gone.
Cooking
class, you know, yeah, that's gone. Oh, then then that gets to a whole separate conversation.
I think high school should have a class of life.
Definitely.
Basic things in life that you will need. For example, learn how to sew. Little minor things like that you don't know how to sew or iron or how to dress for an interview. What to say in an interview.
Yeah.
Things like that, they don't have that, you know.
But interview. I was like, credit score. Man, I didn't learn about
learn how to
score.
save.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, how to save, how to monitor.
Card? Yeah.
Monitor credit cards.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
So maybe that should be like all under life. You know, class with life with Mrs. Kramer. Ah, damn, I hate that girl. You know, I hate that teacher. You know, I'd rather have Mrs. Mondo or whatever. But if they have that in school, in high school, I think that's how you develop a child. I think that's how you develop somebody getting ready for the world. Yes, everybody wants to go to college. Not everybody can afford it. Not everybody's grades are there. Then they go to community college to try to make it, and then they struggle. If they take a class of life, they know what to do, how to do it when they come out, when they graduate from high school. They know what to expect. Not the whole shebang, but maybe just a little bit. So therefore, like, okay, I know what to expect now.
yeah.
You know? Because when I graduated, the next morning I'm like, what's next?
Yeah, now what?
You really don't know. And then it doesn't hit you until you work. And then when summer comes around, and then you're like, don't I have 2 months off? Because that's what I used to have the past, 16 years of my life. I always had 2 months off for the summer. Oh, no, I gotta work? Damn, that sucks, you know?
Yeah.
And holidays, some companies, you have to work the holidays, work nights.
Yeah, and some people just are done with school. They just want to go into a trade or something like that. I mean, I know a bunch of people that are just like, I love cars. You know, I want to work on cars. I do not want to go to become an accountant. You know, I want to be an automotive technician.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, man, you know, some of them they make good money, really good money. You know, I mean, I didn't figure out what I wanted to be in life until maybe a good 10 years ago, and that's
College.
well past like high school, you know, like, you know, and just because you know you want to do doesn't mean like, oh yeah, here I'm gonna start it tomorrow. I'm not even there yet. I still got a year left before I become a nurse, and I knew I wanted to be in the medical field years ago.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, a good foundation can prevent, I believe, a lot of bad things.
I said it first.
Yeah, no, I totally, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about on it?
Mondo?
Oh, well, I kind of wanted to go back to the question. Do video games cause violence?
Yeah.
I think I want to change my answer just a little bit and be like, maybe. It depends if you have depends on who it is, what age they are, and if they have some sort of guidance to for somebody to tell them that these things are not real. Some of these things are wrong to do in life. Somebody just to guide them during like if they play games, just to like somebody like parents basically to tell them that some of those things are wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Fredo says a good foundation is the key.
Yeah.
What if there is no foundation?
Right.
What if this kid bought the game on eBay, Amazon, because can't check ages there. On Steam. Steam is that's just a download app. And you can buy whatever on Steam. So. Yeah.
And now you don't even need credit cards. I mean, kids could get a gift card from Target or something, and they can use the money that way from PayPal or some other currency thing.
Yeah. So there's a loophole if there's no foundation. So an 8-year-old can purchase GTA 5 without the parents even knowing.
Yeah.
Or the grandparents, if the parents are not there, they're working crazy hours, but the grandfather's watching them, aunt, uncle's watching them.
Yeah. So you're saying it could be.
It depends on the
them.
age too. Like somebody who's already in high school, maybe it might not affect them as much. Like when I said, even when you're watching like movies like Bruce Lee, when I first watched it, I started imitating those karate moves or whatever martial arts he knew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I think all kids do that.
Yeah. When we're kids, it's like, but when we get to like high school or something, it's like maybe I'm not gonna do those moves there, So it really depends on your age, I think, and whether or not there's somebody there to help you out and tell you, hey, calm down. And you need some parents to tell you like, stop that. You're not playing. You only get this amount of time to play. So yeah.
Like to regulate, kind of monitor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For kids, though, not for, like, maybe teenagers, maybe not there.
Yeah, but then I think, because, there are kids who are, easily influenced.
Yeah.
And they stay easily influenced throughout, like, your early teenage years and stuff like that don't have the guidance. Is that where the government comes in? And does everyone now get, I don't want to say punished, but does everyone get, that treatment of that monitored, like with or without your consent. That fell.
Blooper.
Blooper. But
well,
so
I just want to.
Does the government step in?
If the government steps in,
but listen, like 7 out of its 10 kids are fine, but these 3.
I'm just gonna say this, and I'm just gonna So the government screwed up as is. Because we're too worried. We're too worried on stupid things and not important things. Because the important things, they want us to turn our back, turn our cheek to it. Don't worry about it, because whoever's connected to the important things is filling their pockets. Now, if they concentrate on the stupid... If the government needs to come in and say, hey, you got to regulate your child's gameplay, then... As a parent, you're not parenting correctly. You go to parent school, go to parent class, get parent tips from other people. You don't want... When anything happens inside a house, at home, needs to stay there unless it's an emergency. If there's child abuse and, a child, like, hey, my mommy's hit me and there's bruises, then outside the home they need to be attended to. Other than that, as far as kids brushing their teeth before bed, or they're saying their prayers, if they allowed it anymore, are they reading, their homeworks are done, they get an hour of gameplay. If the government needs to step in for basic household duties, then we're in deep, deep trouble.
But there are a lot of families and parents who, I don't say a lot of, but there are some that I
think there's
either they might be too busy.
Thank you. That was one of my points.
Or they they might have a drug problem or
They don't care enough.
You know, there are like
they have children too young.
There's
live
bad
their life.
there's bad things like that. Like maybe they're like some kind of like some drug addiction where they just don't care. I don't want to say don't care, but just their mind is not there. And then there's other like single parent families where the mom or the dad's working 3 jobs and
right.
The other one is gone or for whatever reason not there, dead, whatever. So the parent's not there, and it's not because they don't care. It's just because, hey, if you want a roof and you want to eat, so it starts becoming tricky.
Yeah, it is.
I think at that point,
it's a fine line. It's a balance.
Yeah.
But if the government needs to step in and tell you how to monitor, if the government needs to come in and say, hey, you need to tell your daughter this, I'm gonna say, you know what, government, F off. But it's my daughter. I know what to do. I know right from wrong. My parents raised me right. They were strict. They did spank me. My mom, God rest her soul, she was strict on things. If I even looked at it wrong, no, that ain't happening in that house. So, I don't know. Maybe spankings and groundings should come back.
Does your dad still hit you?
That's funny.
I'll tell you off the show.
Quick question. What's a Walkman? No, I'm joking.
Oh,
I've been holding that one in.
So a Walkman for you youngins out there, instead of a CD player, remember CDs? Okay. Yeah. A Walkman was
Go way before.
a rectangular thing, put a cassette tape. It looks just like that.
What's a cassette? Oh. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Punk.
Yeah, that's old school. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are kids that are easily influenced, but I don't believe video game inherently makes people violent. No. I believe it's a combination of everything. Movies, social media is a big thing. Bullying is a big thing. For me, always growing up, it was a form of stress relief. It still is. I mean, I play Overwatch and get really pissed off, but and my girlfriend was like, God, you're always cursing and yelling, but I'm like, yeah, but I'm not angry. I'm just getting
frustrated,
into it, and we're not even frustrated. It is what it is, because the next game I don't remember. I'm not mad still.
Like you're letting off steam.
Yeah,
in the game rather than in real life.
Right.
I mean, I'm not calling people names and stuff like that. Not bad names. I'm like, hey, that was stupid. Oh, hey, you did what you did was stupid. But I wouldn't call them names and stuff like that. I've always thought that was silly. I think that's a big thing now with kids is especially being on Twitch. Some of the viewers that come in and on my stream and the stuff they say, like, I have to kick them out. I'm like, no. That's not gonna fly on my stream. Because I don't want racial slurs. I don't want these weird sexual stuff. No. Like for me, it's like because he's one of them. Well, one thing I know is Ethan, Omar's oldest son. Mm-hmm. He watches my stream sometimes, and I don't want him to like randomly turn on something and there's like the N-word or there's something sexual on there. I'm like, no, I know for a fact a kid is watching my stuff and I don't want that stuff there.
Right.
So that's at least for how I am, but it is kind of becoming a culture now, with where it's kind of becoming more
cyberbullying.
Yeah, but yeah, for me, it's like it was always a stress reliever. It wasn't like, oh man, can I get this huge chainsaw gun that I saw in Gears of War and chop somebody in half with it? It's just
it's messy. You don't want to do that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cleaning to do.
Yeah, and there's not a bug big enough for that. So, final thoughts.
Manda?
I always thought, just like in the United States, how they have the Declaration of Independence, they should have something online so that we can all follow. Everybody online, like rules almost, that everybody could just post in the front of their page, we're following these rules, and everybody has to abide by them, in a way. So almost, it's still like, there's still freedom there, but they have like restrictions. Like, for example, what Kramer was saying about racial slurs and sexual content kind of thing, like have that there and have everybody in the world read it, and have that like a viral thing. Like, hey, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like read a whole bunch of paragraphs of other stuff like before, like most places do. They have different things, and you can't say this, but so this is okay. Just have one for the whole world to go by.
Declaration of internet
Internet nation.
internet pendants.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Declaration of.
I think, especially with the FCC thing going on, that might be a thing pretty soon. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. That's another podcast. Yeah. That's another podcast. Fredo, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I just basically, in a nutshell, we talked a lot about this. And, one of the big things, I'm probably 6 foot, 284 pounds. When I was a kid, I was probably, 5'6", 5'7", maybe 200 pounds. And I was bullied, by one particular person or a couple people. What's the name? What's the name?
No, don't say it.
I'm not saying names. If you know anybody, niece, nephew, cousin, whatever, you see a kid. If you're driving to work and you see a kid being bullied, honk the horn. Get someone's attention. Hey, stop. Leave him alone. You never know what that child's going through, or he's in a breaking point of doing some violence. So if you stop and help one child, one person from work, internet, it doesn't matter. Just do some good. That would slowly reduce rage, anger, violence.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a good spot to end this week's episode on. Thanks for everyone coming by. Mm-hmm. Armando, thank you for stopping by talking about this.
Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Good. Who's Harry? All right.
Whoever has a beard.
Yeah. All right. If you guys enjoyed this week's episode, then you don't want to miss next week's, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It really does mean a lot for us. Lets us know that you enjoy. Anything that you want to add in on, please leave a comment. We'll definitely respond.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Bring it up. We'll talk about that over some comment chat. And we'll see you guys next week.
By the way, this is Overwatch.
I'm sorry. Overwatch.
Assassin's Creed. Overwatch was last week.
Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
All right. See you guys next week. Bye.
You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep. Did we just become best friends?